Okay, so tonight we're going to start with Hardhat with the installation. And let's see. First thing we have to do is install it. So you can see here it's in, hopefully you can see. Yeah. It's NPX. Yeah, I'm going to bring it where I can see it. Um, npm install save dev hardhat. Now this is supposedly a full-fledged environment for Solidity and Ethereum, and you can see it's installing. Sounds okay. Let's go into and I'm going to make a project. Let's call it Hardhat. Project. And this looks like we're talking about Node.js here. So the next thing you got to do is let's see, your Hardhat project. So that's the next step. npx Hardhat. Let's see what we got here. Yep. Let it do what it's going to do. Unfortunately, create a sample project. So that's what we want to do. And yeah, sure, why not? Dependencies, yes. We want to do that because I don't think it's going to compile if we don't give it the dependencies. So now we got the different tasks. And we'll see what is created. Okay, so let's see what we got. So let's look at the Hardhat config file. Okay, so we got task accounts, print a list of accounts. You need to export an object to set up your config. And then the version of Solidity, it looks like. If you look here, npx Hardhat, it'll tell you what you can do. npx yeah, npx Hardhat. So we can try that. You see, this is nice because we don't have to manually set up every single account like we did before. It just created a bunch of them. Compiling your contracts. So, in here, see what we got. Okay, so we have greeted.sol, and let's have a look at that. Let me make sure you can see it. Yep. Alright. So you can see the constructor. So you do, I guess you put a greeting in there. And then greet, that's your method. There are these two methods. Now, one thing I'd like to mention is we're looking at here smart contracts. There's other thing you've heard of. You've heard about, and we've probably mentioned at least with dApps, distributed apps. Now this is my understanding, and if I'm not understanding it correctly, because I have not really looked at dApps too much yet, it's kind of like if you're a full stack developer, you got your front end, which can be your JavaScript or your Reacts or there are others. I'm thinking of one, but your front end. Your front end is going to have some kind of call in there that call your back end. So those are your, in Java we call them all RESTful calls. So you would make a call from your UI app to speak to call a method that's running on your back end, and your back end usually has your RESTful calls that talk to services, and the services talk to the calls that make the calls to the database, the repositories, and you might also have you also have your data, which is what holds the data you get back from the database. I believe this is quite similar, where your dApp will call these methods and as a front end would in a typical web app. So yeah, I was reading up a little bit about that last night. So anyway, we got this going here. So notice we can just compile, and so let's see what happens. And let me see something. So it did not change anything in contracts, but what did it do in, you notice there, artifacts is the new thing, and contracts, Hardhat project. So what was I looking at here? We had contracts. We had Hardhat config node modules, which has the modules from Node.js, your package, JSON, and package lock compiling Node.js scripts, and your tests. It has added two things. It has added cache and artifacts. And in artifacts, we have builder info, contracts, and Hardhat. So So, what? And that is, how big it does not say, but you got greeter dot sold there, and I made it its execution. Oh, it's a directory. That's interesting. So let's have a look here. So it's got a JSON and a DBG. This is probably how it looks like what it's making. So now if you look at this, this is interesting. This is kind of similar to what we saw with ink and substrate. So let's go on, and they're going to tell you how to test it. Comes with tests that you may look at. Okay, so let's look at the tests now. Let's go back. So again, this is like your JUnit type of thing. Describe greeter, it should return the greeting. Ethers.get contract factory greeter. Constant greeter rate greeter.deploy. Hello world. That's so you're deploying, you're giving it the initialization that it needs, which is a text. Await greeter.deployed. Expect greeter.greet to equal hello world. Await set greeter hello mundo. Okay, very simple test. So what it's going to do is it's going to deploy the contract, and then it's going to make calls to the once it's deployed, to verify that the greet is equal to what we initialized it with. Then it's going to change the greeter to hello world in Spanish, obviously, hola mundo, and again do make sure that that it now equals what you set it to. So let's try to run this thing. npx hardhat test. Yep, it passed. So again, this was a very simple contract. The plugin we will use. Okay, so where is it? Okay, so they have this sample script here. So let's go to scripts. Okay, this is a Java. That's interesting. So require the Hardhat runtime. Okay, this isn't, but okay, running a script on hot members available. Okay. So greeter await Hardhat environment, runtime environment, get contract factory, await and deploy it, await greeter deployed, and then it'll tell you where span to use a sync. Okay, handle main, then process catch error. Okay, so it runs it and then it exits if it runs successfully, and if it doesn't, it presents an error. So what we're going to run here is npx hardhat run script sample.js, and let's go up one. Let's see what happens. Yep, so we got this big huge number, and now we need to start the node, and we can run deployment. If you want to connect Hardhat to this node, for example, you can run a deployment script against it. You will let's see what it says. If you want to connect Hardhat to this node, for example, run a deployment script against it. You simply need to run it using network localhost. To try this, start a node with network hardware node, rerun the sample script using network local. Let's see what we got here. So it'll expose a J. Okay. Now I'm curious. Supposedly it's running it. Let's see what happens. I can't resist trying MetaMask and seeing what happens if I try to clean things up a little bit here. See, will it connect? I don't know. Not sure if no, it didn't like it. Let me see something. Okay, let's go back to where we were. Gotta go. Here it is. Okay. So let's try this. npx hardhat node, and okay. Now we're going to need another window, so let me bring up and run this, and I will, don't think you can see it, but what you can see is this one running. So what we don't want to I did something wrong here. Let's need to do this. Is what I need to do. And now I can do that. I did the wrong thing. Okay. So you have created a project, ran a hardware task, compiled it, installed a ran a test using OK. And I don't know if that's going to impact, if that's going to allow it to connect. Let me check something. You got all these commands here. Flatten node, accounts, Let me see something. I was thinking, okay, well, I'm just curious. I want to give it one more chance and see if it's going to connect to that darn wallet. Because supposedly, and you can see it, it's running. It's going along. So, it deployed Greeter. It's running a bunch of things, and I don't know if we're gonna end up actually if it's gonna connect successfully. Nope, it did not. Okay, well, we did accomplish what we set out to do here. We built this simple script, we compiled it, we ran a test on it, we deployed it, and we will be getting into this more because we are now in congratulate. Okay, they even have a Discord. That's interesting. Installed a lot. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at, probably look at tomorrow, is configuration. And as you can see, this is, you have to export an object. Okay, so this is our this is an example of a configuration file. So you can see the different paths, the timeout, and the networks that you're going to connect to. So this is an example, and we're going to get it. This is what we're going to get into this tomorrow. So hopefully this has been helpful to you, and it looks like there's a lot to offer with this tool. Obviously there's no, I don't see a GUI ID, I mean a GUI yet, GUI IDE, but we have Um, Everything you need to use. Okay, scaffold. Um, and we also, of course, still have Remix that we can use for that. And you can also, there are a number of things you can do. But we have Waffle going on here. We got the Hardhat installed. And this, I think this will be interesting to see. Now, the reason, so it looks like you're going to be able to develop React.js apps, front ends to these smart contracts. So again, just to reiterate, the way I'm looking at this is your dApps are like your front end, your smart contracts are your back end, and if you're familiar with web application development, that should make perfect sense. The difference is we're dealing with everything's distributed. Our back end is running on the chain. Our front end can be distributed on different servers, I believe. So, it's a little bit different, but it affords the advantages of distribution. So, anyway, again, hopefully this has been helpful. If it has, please give it a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe and ring the bell, then you'll know when I post next. And I will speak to you next time.